like to call to order the regular meeting of the West Bridgewater School Committee for April 6, 2026. Please rise for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence. Please be seated. The listing of matters on the agenda are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This meeting will be live streamed for cable. A recording of this meeting will also be posted on the West Bridgewater Community Access Media website at wb-cam.org. So first up, we have public comment. Members of the audience wishing to address the committee may do so at this time. Audience members shall limit comments to 3 minutes and are reminded that public comment is not a discussion, debate, or dialogue between individuals and the school committee. Personnel issues or issues that would violate student or employee confidentiality cannot be addressed during the public comment. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to recognitions.
All right, we have Mr. Anopoulos joining us tonight. Mrs. Page is not here tonight, so he's stepping in.
Oh, no.
I didn't touch it. I really don't think I touched it.
Hello, everybody. When Ms. Page and I spoke last week, we discussed what was going to be on the docket tonight, and she's like, "You gonna go?" And I said, "Yes, definitely. I wouldn't miss it." So this morning I come to school, she's like, "You're still not missing it, right?" She's like, "I'm home with a cold." I'm like, "Nope, I got your back. I'm proud to stand in and do this." So this is something that she and I both co-wrote, and I just want to convey this because we're very proud of these awards that we're about to announce. The first one has to do with the Voice of Democracy, which is a national, regional, state, and local Veterans of Foreign Wars competition. Our local chapter 25, located in Bridgewater, Mass. I've been working for many years very closely with Mr. Paul Laporte. He's the director, the chaplain. He's on the judging committee, the whole thing. So. I shout out to him. He's a little under the weather these days, so shout out to him, and hopefully he's feeling better soon. But the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the Voice of Democracy contests this year had the same prompt. So the prompt is, how are you showing patriotism and support for our country? Voice of Democracy is for high school students, 9 through 12, and we have one winner. Unfortunately, they could not be here with us. They are also homesick, but the winner is Jordan De Silva. I'll make sure that they get this tomorrow. The Patriot Pen is the middle school component of this excellent contest. And so for the middle school, students are required to write the essay prompt within the guidelines, and then to submit it for judging. And we did quite well this year, right? So tied for first place, and they're here, Lacey Roche and Marina Salih. Please come and accept your, Lacey, there you go.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thanks so much.
We'll see that Marina gets hers tomorrow. Second place will go to Shard Jean. Is Shard here? No? We'll make sure that they get it. For Shard. And third place, a shout out to the Howard School social studies teacher for their student, Amelia Gerherty, winning third place in the Patriot Pen. So we want to thank all of our student participants. They're winners for participating in this awesome event. We want to thank the teachers. Miss Martin has had kids. Miss Anna Mills, thank you. I drew a blank there. Miss Anna Mills has sent students. Mr. Despier has had students. My current student, Jordan, is there this year, so shout out to everyone, all their teachers as well. The next award goes out to one of my teachers in my department, which we're very, very fortunate here at West Bridgewater Middle Senior High School in this community to have with us. I want to congratulate to Jamie Martin, who was recently selected as one of 11 only educators throughout the country to serve as a PBS Learning Media Teacher Ambassador. This cohort of social studies educators was chosen based on their classroom experience and their commitment to using digital media to enhance student engagement. The appointment is particularly significant this year as PBS prepares for our country's 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. As a teacher ambassador, Jamie represents West Bridgewater on a national stage, serving as an expert advisor and creator of educational content for the PBS Learning Media platform. These ambassadors are recognized for their ability to integrate primary and secondary sources and high-quality social studies resources into their daily instruction, helping students from upper elementary throughout into their high school careers. Their connections with history is often and always in a very meaningful way. Throughout the year, Jamie will collaborate with peer educators, school leaders, leadership, and local PBS member stations to share best practices and lead professional development sessions. Laurie Brittain, Vice President of BPS Learning Media, noted that these 11 educators were selected for their leadership and their ability to empower students to engage with media responsibility. By participating in this national program, Jamie plans on bringing fresh resources and instructional strategies back to the West Bridgewater community, specifically in the areas of civics and United States history. So one more round of applause for Ms. Martin. And we have a little recognition for you.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Martin, for being with us. We're fortunate to have you.
And I just want to say congratulations to Lacey and to all of our students and Ms. Martin for doing such a great job representing West Bridgewater, both at the student and the staff level. We're very lucky to have all of you, so thank you again.
Okay, next up we have the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the March 2nd, March 9th, and March 12th, 2026 school committee meetings?
Craig, make a motion to approve the minutes from March 2nd, March 9th, and March 12th of 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Weech. Any discussion on the minutes? No? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. The next item on the agenda is to review and possibly vote to declassify our executive session minutes. So in your folder, you'll see we have minutes from 2023 to the present. So have you all had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to move to approve the declassification of all executive session minutes redacted where relevant from 2023 to the present, with the exception of minutes in draft form from the March 2nd, 2026 executive session. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion on that?
No.
Okay, perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right, next up we have the warrants report, and Mrs. Lazardi is not with us tonight, so I will dust off my warrant reading hat. Warrants for April 6, 2026. The following warrants were issued and paid for the fiscal year 2026. Bill warrants on March 5th, 2026, warrant number 32 for $93,340.08. March 12th, 2026, warrant number 33 for $162,966.84. March 19th, 2026, warrant number 34, $368,364.66. March 26, 2026, warrant number 35, $152,682.61. The following two payroll warrants for fiscal year '26 on March 13th, 2026 for $608,628.59 and March 27th, 2026 for $649,969.85. As always, all warrants are public record and once signed are available in the Selectman's office for review. All right, next up, we have our Student Advisory Committee representative, and Mr. Baroud cannot be with us tonight. So we'll move right on to Superintendent's
All
update.
right.
Mr. Bodwell.
Thank you. So I just want to give a brief update and overview of the FY27 budget and some recent developments within our budget. So just as a reminder that the school committee has approved a full operating budget of about $22.5 million with a town appropriation we're asking for $19,526,865, which is an increase of just over $916,000 from FY26, which is a 4.93% increase. So when we look at the needs of the district and we talk about what is required, there are certain things, we've talked about this during our other budget presentations and with the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, but there are certain positions that are legally mandated and/or contractually required. Those obviously include our core educational programs, our English, math, science, and social studies, along with wellness technology, both the elementary and the secondary level, mandated special education programs and staff, which include teachers, instructional assistants, our related services, which are speech and language, occupational therapy, physical therapy, adapted phys ed, our out-of-district tuitions and placements, as well as transportation, our core administrative staff, both at the district and at the building level, nursing services within the district, behavioral specialists with our BCBA and our RBTs, our multilingual English language learner staff and supports, transportation requirements for regular education. We're mandated to transport from kindergarten through grade 6 and special education as per their IEPs, our facilities and grounds and our food services, curriculum materials, professional development, and technology for our students and our staff, and services such as school psychologists, school counselors, and adjustment counselors. So really, all of those are the required must-haves to operate a school district. They're not wants, they're really our needs within the district. Then we get to kind of another, and I won't even call them a tier because I don't think that's fair, but another area of things that, people say, well, what could you go without if you had to? And I say, none of these, but I think it's important to talk about them. Right now, we have an elementary adjustment counselor that's funded through a grant, and we have one secondary adjustment counselor. Non-core academic offerings such as world languages or AP courses, a reading specialist, we have one currently in the district. We could look at athletic programs or sports teams to potentially cut or reduce. Transportation, again, is not required for grades 7 to 12. You could run a pay-to-ride type of program. Elementary specialist programs, after-school clubs and activities, elementary instrumental music, non-inclusion, instructional assistants. For us, it's only our 4 in the kindergarten level. We're only mandated a half-day kindergarten, but 95% of districts in the state do offer a full day, and we could reduce elementary teachers, which would increase class size. None of those, I would say, would be good for business, would be good for our students, our staff, and our community. And they really help complete the overall educational experience for all of our students and make us, I believe, a great school district. And then we look at, some things are happening in our districts and where they may have to be cutting. And when I started to think about the presentation for tonight, I wanted to put down some things that we don't even have currently within our district. We don't have special education team chairs or coordinators at the elementary or the secondary level, elementary ELA and math interventionists or tutors. We are very lean on administrators, both central office and in the building levels. elementary reading specialists at the Howard School and/or at the middle school level, elementary and middle school math and English specialists or coaches, a middle senior high school library media specialist, and elementary library media specialists or teachers. So just trying to give you a fact of where we are, what we need, what we have, and what we still don't have. And again, what we've suggested in our budget is the needs to move forward. I was asked, do we think we need to continue to add? And I say we've done a nice job. The town has been very supportive over the years in providing us what we needed, and I think we've seen a lot of growth and improvement. And depending on the size of the classes, you know, we may be good, I think, for a while. So again, staffing levels are driven by the student needs and legally required services of our students. We did some data research and looked at DESI data that showed staffing levels of all staff, staffing levels of administrators, and staffing levels of just teachers. And when we looked at that, West Bridgewater was significantly higher a per student ratio than our DESI DART districts. And the DART districts are the 10 districts that they feel West Bridgewater is most closely associated with, as well as the South Shore district. So we had a higher per pupil per staff. Last Monday, we met a group of us, the town administrator, David Gagney, Jeff Ryan, Jan Fox, and then Mr. Dragonetti and Mr. Waller, along with Kathy Grant and myself. We had a meeting to talk about the state of the budget here in West Bridgewater. I felt it was a very collaborative meeting where we shared what's going on within the town, but also sharing the needs of the school district. So they discussed about how they're looking to balance the FY27 budget, and they have not yet voted on. The Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee will meet, I believe, next week. So we told them that we'd come back to the committee and talk about the budget, where we're at, and where we may be in terms of moving forward.
Yes, and actually, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
make a motion to move the capital budget and improvement plan discussion up on the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion on that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we have an operating budget, we have a capital budget. It's really intertwined. And one of the suggestions for funding our capital requests is to use some fiscal year 26 operating budget funds. So I think in talking about where we could potentially trim the fiscal year 27 budget, it's a bigger picture. And so I'd rather have the whole discussion
Makes sense.
at once. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
All right.
So if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Bodwell, presenting on the capital budget, and then we
Sure.
can have kind of a big budget discussion.
Sure. So our town capital committee met twice in March, on the 17th and the 26th. To each department would present their needs for capital items coming out of the town's free cash amounts. So the first meeting was the presentation. The second meeting is where the votes were taken. So the school system had put forth 6 items, and the items that were approved to go to the Board of Selectmen and then hopefully go to the town meeting for a warrant article were the secure entry Sallyport system feasibility study for the Roselle McDonald and Spring Street School. So this would be a study that would give us an estimate on what it would cost to build the secure entry points at each of the schools. The intercom systems at the Roselle McDonald and the Spring Street School, both are very old, very outdated, especially at Roselle. It's original to the building. Spring Street is using the phones for the main source of communication. And the fire alarm panel at the Howard School, we had initially discussed having the Howard and Spring, but it was decided that we could wait a little bit on the Spring. So those 3 items together totaled $328,580. It was then discussed at the capital meetings of making a recommendation to take funding from the FY26 school budget for a couple of the other ideas for capital. Now, we do have extra money in the budget this year, which we will discuss a little bit more, from our estimate on the students going to Norfolk Aggie in the FY26 budget. There is approximately $170,000 that we did, in essence, over budget for that. Again, not knowing if students would get in or if they would choose to go to the agricultural schools. So it was proposed and voted on at the Capitol meeting that the paving project at the Roselle McDonald, so the sidewalk there would be included, the computers for not only the computer lab at the middle senior high school, but also for the CAD lab next to the robotics room would be included, so a total of 40 computers, and the fixing of the clear story windows around the entire building to recaulk and reseal all of those to prevent any future leaks. So those together total $165,670. And it was well discussed, and it was brought, I did watch the Board of Selectmen meeting, they did discuss it there as well, and that will also be discussed at the Finance Committee.
Yeah, so just a little bit more background. So in the meeting that we held on Monday?
Yes.
On Monday, there was discussion about how this year's town budget in general has been balanced. Mr. Gagné was able to balance the budget, but with some adjustments that are not beneficial long-term. So one of the things is, this year, the town has 4.3 million in free cash, which is seemingly high. However, he's had to borrow from free cash about 1.7 million to balance the operating budget. So free cash is not something that's guaranteed every year. So to borrow from free cash to balance the operating budget is not, it's not smart long-term. It's not something that we can withstand. So free cash is typically used to fund these capital budget improvements. So one of the suggestions, as Mr. Bodwell said, to fund some of our requests was to take this 165,670 from our operating budget from fiscal year 26. Now, what would happen with our fiscal year 26 overage is that it would go back into free cash, and then for next year, it would potentially then be added to the fiscal year 28's free cash, and we could, in theory, put in some of these requests then if they weren't approved this year. So, Mr. Waller had discussed it previously at one of the meetings that I was unable to attend, and I brought up my concern as well, that when we look at using that fiscal year 26 overage, that money was appropriated for the purpose of funding the Norfolk Aggie students. And so, to me, to use it for capital improvements it's not what that money was designated and voted on for. That being said, I can also be flexible and see that if we do not use the money and we put it back into free cash, we're just going to likely use it next year to fund the same projects. And where it's a whole discussion with the Finance Committee representatives and the Board of Selectmen representatives and Mr. Bodwell, myself, Mr. Waller, and Mr. Gagné, that this is something that all of the boards would recommend to do. I can be flexible and say I'm for it. It doesn't feel great to me because it's not what the town appropriated the money for, but at the end of the day, that ultimately would be what the money is used for. Any thoughts on the capital requests before I start talking about the operating budget?
I feel the same way you do. I think it seems it might set a precedent that I don't know that we want. I mean, if all the boards are for it and that's the way it's supposed to work, then I did read a little about it. Mark told me about this, but it seems like it's what this is for. You're supposed to make this approval and go to the selectmen, go to the finance committee, and that's my concern is the precedent that we're just over budgeting all sorts of things to maybe tack on, I'm not going to do that personally, but that doesn't mean that we haven't set a precedent to do that. So similar to you, I understand the reasoning for it, but I am conflicted.
Yeah. So based on our discussion tonight, if we decide to, that that's the way that we want to go, we can vote on withdrawing that request for town appropriation. You see in your packets, we do have a memorandum from Mr. Gagné regarding the capital requests, and it says pretty much exactly this, that those top 3 projects were approved and will move on for vote. And then the bottom 3, it's recommended that they be funded through our budget and that they were not approved, and therefore would not move on to go on to the warrant. So if we choose to do this, we'll have to do it by vote, so I'm willing to entertain a motion to use that 165, or to fund, I would say, the 165,670 through our fiscal year 26 operating budget.
I'm gonna second it.
Okay, so just to clarify, do you want to make the motion? I'm happy to make the motion.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So move to withdraw the request for town appropriation through the fiscal year 27 capital budget to fund the Roselle McDonald paving sidewalk project, the computers at the middle senior high school, and the middle senior high school clear story window project. It's an estimated 165,670. And to fund that through the fiscal year 26 operating budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion on that?
The sounding boards, we're gonna do the study first, and then when would they actually be installed? Is it 2028? When would we be asking for that one?
We would most likely go forward for the FY '28 capital for that,
Okay.
unless we did an interim, it was involved with a special town meeting. And I will say that, as part of the discussion on the capital committee, and I think I heard it too, I don't want to speak for the Board of Selectmen, but we felt this was somewhat of a unique circumstance, and it wasn't something that we would be planning to do on a regular basis. But, the timing of it, especially things like computers, which we're unsure of the cost long-term, maybe now we could find a better deal than down the road. So it definitely was a unique circumstance, and also with the town, looking to fund the regular budget using capital money, using free cash, it may help, in different areas.
And I'm glancing right now at the the 5-year capital plan, and our fiscal year 28 requests are pretty substantial at the
Correct.
moment. Pushing out the Sally Port, which we have to do, of course, because we have to do the feasibility study first. That project alone is estimated at around $600,000. So they are, next year's requests are going to be pretty substantial, I would say. So just something to, think about. And if we can, the overall discussion of kind of alleviating some of the pressure on the town budget for this year, I think this is something that we should consider doing. Is there any further discussion on this? No? Okay, so I'll bring this to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so moved. So back to the operating budget. So that was one reason I wanted to move it up, because the idea here is we need to try to alleviate some of the pressure on the overall town budget. And by doing that, it frees up some of that free cash to fund some of the operating budget and also to retain some moving forward. One of the other discussion points was, what could we potentially not fund in our fiscal year 27 budget? And, in going through all of the positions, the vast majority of them are on that first slide that Mr. Bodwell presented. They're required. They're legally mandated. Most of them are related to special education or to medical needs, or in terms of the reading specialists. That's just best practice, especially when we look at where our assessment scores are and where our MCAS scores are. You can see that Roselle is doing relatively well, and then, the Howard is struggling in certain areas. And so when I think about all of those positions, I'm not willing to concede on those. The only one position that I look at is that, the library media specialist, which is something that we do need to, be accredited. But, so I'm gonna pose this question to you, Mr.
Sure.
Bodwell. What does that process look like for NEASC? I mean, if we don't fund it this year, what does that do potentially for our accreditation?
So they'll come back for an accreditation visit in 2030. It's a 10-year cycle.
Okay.
We will start a self-study in, I think, 2028. I'm not exactly sure the timing of it. So they will come in, we will provide them documentation, information, staffing lists, and, they go through all of their different standards, and we've got to provide them with information, and then they'll come out with a visiting team, and they do a report after their visit. If it's not funded this year, then there is other opportunities to fund it prior to self-study even, and certainly prior to the visit. I think that it would certainly be an area of concern, a finding, and be considered an area that we would need to address if we didn't have it by the time they did the visit, or possibly feedback through the self-study. When you do the self-study, the NEAS process has gotten a lot, I think, more efficient and more user-friendly than it has, back maybe 20 years ago when I started. So I think the process, we would be doing a lot of self-evaluating of why we need the position, and come up with some reasons for it, and a plan moving forward.
So if we were not to fund it this year, we're not at risk of losing
No.
our accreditation right now?
No.
Okay, that's really my question.
No, it's we do let them know that,
Yeah.
when there's a loss of a position, Mrs. Page does report that every year. So we are not at risk of losing accreditation.
So technically, we wouldn't be losing an accreditation, but
No.
are we then, not saying that I'm one way or the other, just, we're essentially saying we could just hire this position for an accreditation and then just knowingly put ourselves at risk just be hiring for each accreditation cycle? It doesn't seem like the best practice.
That's not a good practice. I agree. I think the goal should be to hire the position and maintain the position long-term. I do think it's beneficial for our students
have some
and our
leeway here.
staff to have someone on board. But I'm, again, trying to look more globally at the entire town and see how the town's going. I think it's a position that, although it's a need, I think I agree with Mr. Dragonetti, it falls below some of the other needs that are direct services for our students. But I don't think I know we wouldn't have presented if we didn't feel it was an important position,
Yeah.
but I also feel we want to work with the town.
If we wait a year, how long is it hard to fill that spot? Like, not a lot of candidates, right? So it might be a bit, do you think?
I mean, I think we've had good luck in filling positions, so I think we would, the goal would be to fill it within, post in the spring and have it by the fall.
So, I mean, our increase at face value is 4.93%, which in itself is not horrible. The major issue is the hiring of people, which are, then come with that potential health insurance costs, and it's an expense that will continue to rise year after year. It's not like we're purchasing computers and then those computers we don't have to maintain. They're people, and so one of the discussion points is that no districts are hiring and that some are actually cutting, which is true. A lot of districts are not hiring. Some are, however, hiring because there's need-based, right? That this, the necessities are there. I just, I'm really torn because West Bridgewater we're already lean. There are a lot of things that we don't already have. If we run the numbers and we look at the staffing ratios, for Easton, for example, is one that I looked at. If we funded our schools at the same level that Easton funded, we would need to hire all of these positions plus another 10 to 12 more. So, I worry about setting the precedent of we're willing to make this concession and cut this year because we do have needs. And I think that it's important that we really send that message, and stick by what we need. But at the same time, I know that we are heading into, potential financial downturn, and, we need to kind of alleviate some pressure, so. I wish we had a full committee tonight. I'd rather have a 5-person discussion about this rather than just 3 of us, but, time is of the essence, so. Any further thoughts?
Kind of in the same boat. I feel like we need a position, but money's not there, but we don't want to shortchange the kids.
Yeah. Yep. So, the amount budgeted for, do you have it off the top
I
of your
do.
head, Mr. Buttle? What's the amount budgeted for the?
For that position?
Yeah, for that position.
It's 72,000. Oh, yeah, just $72,473.
Okay.
I could probably do the math, but
I actually
if
have
we,
a,
if we bring that, if we remove that from our ask, what percentage increase does that put us at? Like 4.6?
it brings us to
4.62?
4.54,
Yeah.
down from 4.93.
Which I think is in the general ballpark of, other departments, and, certainly lower than what we've asked for in the past, right, Mr. McCarthy? So, I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna move to, reduce our teaching services line by $72,473, for a total fiscal year, 27 appropriation request of $7,118,906, and a total school budget of $8,233,806, just on that teaching services line. For an overall budget of $22,493,868.
Second.
Discussion? We kind of we put the cart before the horse there, but I was really hemming and hawing on making a motion in the first place. So to clarify, I know I just threw a bunch of numbers in there, but that would reduce our fiscal year appropriation request to the town to $19,454,392. Our overall budget, as we do have over $3 million in school contributions, is $22,493,868. Any other discussion, any questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
No.
Any opposed? No. Okay. So move 2 to 1.
Okay.
Safe Schools update.
All right, pinch hitting from Mrs. Page, but part of the committee. I think this is one of the greatest committees we have in our town, in our district. Speech is also on it, but I think it shows great collaboration with not only the school system, but the police, the fire, building and grounds, central office, and counselors, and our school committee. We meet regularly to discuss issues around the schools, but also related to what's going on in the town, all about student and staff safety. Recently coordinating some lockdown drills, but I think at least one more to come, and help to prioritize items that on the capital budget and help push things through. And I think it's great to have all stakeholders at these meetings, because we can talk about things, and then we have, Mrs. Grant there to talk about the money, and, is it this year thing, is it a next year thing, is it a capital thing, things like that. So, and we'd like to hear the police and the fire and their perspective and get their input, and school committee. So it's I think it's a very vibrant committee that works really hard and gets things done, including the Safe Schools plan. Any other thoughts or?
I think it's a very useful group of people.
Yeah. Having served on it, it's important. It's really important to be discussing the police and fire provide perspectives that we don't have because it's not our area of expertise, right? So I think it's really important. How often does Safe Schools meet? Refresh my memory.
4 to 6 weeks?
Monthly.
Yeah, pretty
Monthly.
much.
Monthly.
Monthly, yeah. And what's nice is if there's ever an issue, I think we already have that built-in communication. Everyone gets along really well. And that's what I think with all town departments. I think that's a credit to West Bridgewater that all town departments talk well, meet well, know each other, and communicate really well. But if there ever was an emergency, I have complete confidence in everyone, taking their roles and doing what they need to do, and no egos involved, just doing what needs to be done to get through whatever crisis it might be.
All right. Any other questions? All right, clubs and activities?
Clubs and activities. I think Mrs. Jufrey has a couple updates. Mrs. Page will give hers next week when
Right.
she's here.
All right, so I'll start with Little Leo's, which is a community service club that is run in conjunction with the Lions Club in West Bridgewater. A couple of upcoming dates. The West Bridgewater Cleanup Day is scheduled for May 19th. Our Little Leo's will be visiting the Senior Center on May 21st. They go over for lunch and they play board games with people there. And their last meeting is May 26th, and they have a big party. Recently, they ran a theme day for a cause, which was Sports for Sight. So students and staff were invited to wear something representing their favorite sports team and make donations to the Lions Club Eye Research Fund. We raised $107 for that. Let's see, Student Council is next up. I met with them today, actually. One of the things that they like to do is brainstorm questions for the principal and make suggestions for things that we can do to improve the school community. Things like a longer recess and a longer snack and shorter ELA classes. I'm not making that up. Those were their legitimate requests. And I got out on the board and wrote out how many hours they have to. It was
They said
fun.
the same thing at the round table.
Yeah, yeah.
I listen well, but
So each grade got together and brainstormed questions, and we had some really good conversation. We ran out of time, so I'm going to go back, but they're doing great stuff too. One of the things that happens at the Howard School that I don't think gets talked about enough is the coffee cart. I don't know if you've ever heard of the coffee cart, but it is an inclusive activity in which students who are receiving services for physical therapy or speech therapy or social pragmatics get together with model peers, and they take orders for snacks and coffee from the staff. So you put your order in a Google form, and then the kids get together and they fulfill the coffee orders, and they come around and you actually give them money. Like, it's a cash thing, so they have to learn how to make change and how to interact with customers. It's fantastic. So I should be reading what they wrote rather than going extemporaneously here. Once a month, we have students prepare and deliver coffee, tea, and snacks for staff members. They use their executive functioning skills to write out labels and plan the steps of making the orders. An incredible crew of students this year. They're always helping each other and learning from each other. So it's always a fun time for me to get the knock on the door and see the kids come in with my coffee. Let's see, we also have Unified Sports. They've just closed out their 2026 basketball season with the Jamboree in the gym. We had, at the Howard School, we had Abby, Sasby, and Sebastian playing. It was nice to see some former students up at the middle school playing as well. And they are beginning their recruitment for Unified Cornhole, which is definitely much more my speed than basketball. So signups are happening now through, I believe, so they'll be playing through May 28th. And all of that information was shared in our newsletter. I think that does it for our clubs and extracurriculars.
great.
Thank you,
So-
Mrs. Jufrey.
Thank you. And I know we have at the high school a drama club at Shrek, and I think it's May 15th, 16th, and 17th with a couple of nights and matinees on Saturday and Sunday. So more to follow on that.
Great.
Good.
Okay, moving on. We finished our unfinished business. So new business. The first item is athletic fee increase. This was something we discussed last time. I think we talked about 5%. Currently, it's 300.
Correct. $300 with a family cap of 600.
Okay. And so just looking at as our budget increases, I know this was discussed in the budget subcommittee, as our budget increases 5%, the athletic fees should do the same.
I
So-
think it's not enough,
Yeah,
honestly. Like,
I-
I think we are a steal, and I have 2 children here who each play multiple sports, and I pay $600, and I will at one point have 4 children here, and if they all play 3, I'm getting $600 for 4 kids with 3 sports. It's a steal. Bridgewater is, just for reference, $600 a sport with no family cap. And sports should, I want all the sports that we can have, but I do think that they should be at a higher price. I think we should be not taking as much from the operating. I don't know what the operating budget is for sports, but I think it's worth looking into, and I do think that there's a lot of room for, I hate to say increase, but there is. I mean, I know we talked 315, and that's definitely a start, but I think there's room for more there.
Yeah, I agree. When I think about the amount that I pay for private activities, private athletic activities, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Youth sports in town is a lot less,
Yes.
I mean, a lot more than the high school. So.
Yeah.
When was the last time you increased it? Was it 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago, I
Okay.
believe.
Yeah,
I think we went up 20, I think it was 275.
yeah, it
I
wasn't a
believe.
huge, it was not
No.
a huge increase at all. And when you do the math out, it's
It's a small number. I mean, even with a, 15 or 50 or even 100, it would go into the, the extra money that we used to pay for like the athletic trainer and things like that.
I do think that it's worth considering the fact that most of these athletes are multi-sport athletes. So we're not saying we get $20 from, or $300 from 20 kids for baseball, and another 20 kids play basketball, and we get 300. These
Yeah.
are the same kids over and over again. So even if it was 300 and another 50 per sport with an $800 family cap, we'd be increasing just a little bit, but making a difference.
yeah.
And the reason we have stuck with the one fee is to encourage kids to participate in more. And you're right, a lot of kids do participate in more than one, but when they're paying once, then they kind of feel it's just bonus to play other sports. And it's, as parents, we love our kids to participate in as many after-school activities, whether they're athletics or drama or other clubs. So we want to keep them involved, but
When does Mrs. Hamill need, or Miss Hamill need,
I think they start registration. I mean, we're just started the spring season, so I think we could just hold off on accepting
Yeah, you
payment.
can
Yeah,
public-
we could discuss it more in May.
yeah, and I think if we can get some more information too about surrounding districts and what the math actually looks like.
Yeah, I know she's
What's
done
the-
that before, so I can never
Yeah, I
look
would love
back
to
at the.
see
Yeah.
bus, athletic trainer, all those things, even if it was different per sport, which I hate to say, but some sports cost more than others. So,
Okay, so we will hold off on that until May. All right, next, Miss K, the international travel presentation.
The kids have been asking a long time for this trip. This is my first year here.
I'm
Stephanie.
controlling it, so just let me know. Just go like ding or something.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Kotsolos. I work here at the middle senior high school. I've been here for 4 years. I'm the mainly eighth grade Spanish teacher, but I teach high school as well. As I said, kids have been asking me for a long time about Japan. Obviously, it is a very big trip. As to why I kind of took a break this year. And then we're going to kind of be preparing. I want parents to kind of have a head start as to why I'm kind of pushing it towards summer of 2027, as well as it being in the summer with time change, etc. I don't want the kids missing school. We have been running it in the summer the past 2 years. I personally like it. It's something to look forward to at the end of the school year. I really think the kids do too. It's kind of like dangling the carrot in their face. So yeah, but I'm just here to present Japan. So a little bit of background. You can go to the next one. Thank you. So teaching experience, like I said, I've been here the past 4 years. I've been teaching for 5. I am a complete dork for languages, culture, global exploration. I mean, I absolutely adore it. I've been doing it my whole entire life. And I really just want to spread that global awareness to students. I've been seeing it the past 3 years going on these WB trips, and I mean, especially for some kids who have never been out of the country before, it really opens their eyes into just diverse food options and way of life and language, etc. So it's really nice to be able to experience that with them. Travel experience, like I said, I've been traveling internationally my whole entire life, which I'm super grateful for my parents. Shout out to my parents. And just being able to kind of just grow that passion for what I do. So in the past, in 2024, we did the Europe trip, as some of you may remember. So we went to Switzerland, Spain, France, Monaco. I think that's it. There were a lot in 10 days, which was a whirlwind, but it was very exciting and a great experience. And then not last summer, 2 summers ago, we went to Greece and we went to Athens and a lot of the Greek islands. And I mean, the amount of history that's there, and the kids definitely picked up on the language, which was really cool too, considering how hard it is. But I was really proud of them, and they really immersed themselves. So that was amazing to see. And then on the past couple of slides, as you've probably noticed, I've had a lot of Costa Rica pictures, which we went to this past summer. And that was definitely my favorite trip by far. I mean, I'm a Spanish teacher, so we spoke a lot of Spanish there, and had just a really great experience. The kids were so open to anything, trying funky new foods, experiences. I mean, the wildlife was great, learning about that, and all the landscapes, etc. So why your students should travel with me? My top priority is just their safety, really, honestly, and their comfort as a teacher and as just an adult. I just really want them to feel safe. Considering I am very comfortable traveling internationally, I feel that I am very good at doing that, and that is why I'm still here presenting these trips, because I really enjoy it. I am also very organized, type A, which I believe is great for these international trips. I am constantly in touch with parents. I text them on WhatsApp every morning, our entire itinerary, because sometimes the kids don't text them. So I also will text them pictures and videos of what their students have been doing. So it's, I really try to stay on top of it. And just their well-being in general. Sometimes we don't have good days, especially being away from families. Some of these kids are not used to it. So just being there for them, and while still having to have an enjoyable experience. You can move to the next one, Mr. Bravo. Thank you. And then ACIS is the company that I went with this year. I did work with them last year, and I had an absolutely phenomenal experience. Safety is 100% also their #1 priority, which I noticed right off the bat. So that was extremely prominent to me and stood out. As well as obviously the perks. The hotels were comfortable, safe areas. Had very many diverse food options, which is, you would not believe how important that is when you bring students overseas, because some of them are very picky. So that was awesome. The tour guides were, I mean, I have never experienced something like this in my life, let me tell you. Super knowledgeable. I mean, we would be on the bus. He would tell us the whole history of their bus system. In Costa Rica, we would pass by a Chiquita banana plantation, and he would just tell us everything about the history behind it. I mean, it's phenomenal what they do, and they have chosen great tour guides, and they're great with the kids as well, and teach them the language, etc. And yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this company this past year, and I know other teachers at WB have used ACIS before I was here, so they have nothing but good things to say as I reached out to them, which is how I found ACIS. So I plan on continuing with them. There's supposed to be a picture, but that's okay. As I mentioned before, so we're going to be doing the highlights of Japan. Students told me specific cities that they really want to visit. So I kind of did a poll on the travel Instagram that we have just to kind of gauge their interest. So we're going to be starting, obviously, on our flight there. What I really like about ACIS is we fly there, we get off the plane, get our bags, and our tour guide immediately meets us. So we are basically with our tour guide from the day we get there to the day we leave. They do not leave us. They stay in the same hotel as us. That makes me not only feel comfortable, but the kids, because I mean, they are the professionals on this trip. They know everything. They know the language, etc. So I really do like that about this company. And then you could go to the next one. We're going to start in Tokyo. So the students will kind of get a little gauge for what life is like in Tokyo, start to get used to those diverse food options, the language as well. I know that Tokyo is very, I don't want to say Americanized, but they do speak more English there. So I think it's kind of just dipping their toes into the water a little bit before it's full-blown Japanese. So I think that'll be a great kind of start to the trip, as well as we're going to be visiting a lot of shrines and temples, so kind of getting a gauge on their religion and their background and their cultural importance of what is important to them. I think that will be awesome. So we're going to start in Tokyo, and then next we're going to go to Mount Fuji. This area will learn more about the wildlife there and landscapes, so very similar to what we did in Costa Rica, like the biological components that are important to Japan, which is amazing. And then the next spot, we will go to Nagoya and Kyoto. I am not going to bother trying to say these names. I will learn them. One of my favorite things that I did notice on this trip was the Japanese tea ceremony. I mean, I'm sure you have seen it in TV shows or movies. I would love to experience it in person. I know the kids would too, and they have been very respectful in the last few years. We've gone to a monastery one time, and the kids were awesome. I mean, the way that they react in situations that sometimes you don't think they would react well to, they really do step it up. So I'm very proud of them, and I'm comfortable bringing them to a ceremony like this, as well as a lot of these shrines and temples, and learning about what's important to Japanese people. And then the last stop will be Osaka, and kind of to just sprinkle a little cherry on top, the Cup of Noodles Museum, which I'm sure students will love. So I thought that was a little funny, but I thought that was kind of cool. So just to kind of gauge, especially they're kids at the end of the day, their interest as well, not just solely educational, but being able to have fun too. So that's kind of the trip. I did mention, me and Miss Edgar mentioned these things last year, but like I said, ACIS, they have a ton of hotlines. I am in direct contact with the tour guide 2 weeks before we even get over there, so I kind of meet them virtually a little bit beforehand. The director that plans our whole entire trip, I have direct access to. He is constantly in, which is nice because I worked with him last year as well. He is in constant contact with me when we are overseas, and beforehand we have multiple meetings in order to make sure that students and parents feel comfortable sending their kids. And then the next slide, what I love about this, especially being an organized person, is at the end of the day, the total cost is completely included with what the students are paying up front. Round trip flights, hotels, meals, tours and excursions. I mean, everything's included, including travel insurance. So I think that really makes parents feel comfortable because they know that I don't have to send my child over with X amount of money and trusting them with that money. So obviously they still will at the end of the day. The kids want souvenirs, but I think that does make parents feel a little more comfortable, as well as myself. And then obviously, I know I won't be able to pay something up front, especially going that far, but there are payment plans. Students usually do this every year that I've noticed, and they pay a certain amount every month, especially kids who need to get a job and save up for their trip. So that is also why I'm kind of planning it so far in advance, so that students kind of are aware of, I need this amount of money, I need to get a job, etc. They can also fundraise, so if you know of GoFundMe, which is a fundraising website, they can do something very similar with their school trip, and parents and friends can kind of just put money towards the trip. And as I mentioned, protection plans are included, so God forbid a delay happens, which has happened. We get protected through that and get new flights the next day usually, as well as rooms. Lost baggage, etc. Unfortunately, things like that happen, but there is a protection plan in place for that. That is included in the total price. And then, yeah, so if you have any questions, I can answer them now. My email is also included there. Also, this exact trip, it's called Highlights of Japan, is on the website. It might not be strictly by exactly what I just showed you. It might change here and there once the trip is officially planned, hopefully. But you can kind of get more of an idea, and there's more descriptions and stuff like that. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. You've presented for us before, and I know we've used ACIS last year and then EF prior to that, and I'm just thrilled that we were able to I think I say this every year, thrilled that we were able to bring back international trips. Just curious, how much is this?
It's around 6,000.
Okay.
Yes.
Not bad.
Yeah,
I hate to say that, but
I know it's a lot of money, and many people are like, oh my God, that's a lot. But for going all the way to Japan, and especially all these spots.
And for what's included.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. So that's why I was also comfortable kind of presenting this trip this year. Last year was a little more expensive than that.
Do we have an idea of how many kids?
I would be comfortable bringing, I believe it's 12 kids or 2 chaperones. So it'd be myself and another chaperone. If we get a lot of interest, I would be willing to maybe bring 15 at most. I mean, we've brought 39 kids the Europe trip. I think it was a little too much. Even with the amount of chaperones we had, it's a lot to handle 39 kids going from point A to point B. So I definitely think the smaller groups, I have enjoyed managing better, but I think also the kids enjoy it because even if they don't know each other, it's a little bit, you kind of force them into one spot and they really get to know each other. So probably a smaller group, especially going this far. Yeah.
What grades are usually?
Usually 10 through 12. 10th through 12th grade. Yep.
How many days?
It is 9 days, depending on the time change, maybe 10. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you
Yeah.
for giving our kids this opportunity. I know we've
Yeah.
staff here that have taken kids both domestically and internationally, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
But you keep coming back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep coming back. So thank you, because
I know you
that's so
are-
awesome for our kids,
It is
and we
very
wouldn't
nice,
do it without you.
especially coming from somebody who loves to travel. It's very nice seeing these kids being able to experience something from a different perspective of me being a teacher. So I really do enjoy it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're fortunate you're doing it every year for that consistency, and
Yeah.
it's fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay,
You
next.
gonna do you vote on that or no?
Oh, yes, do we
I think
vote
I
on? Yes,
think
we
yes,
do
because
vote on
it's
that.
outside of.
Oh, you're
outside
right,
of
you're
the
right,
state.
you're right. It is, it's outside of, if we vote on Rhode Island,
Yeah,
I think we should probably vote on Japan. Is there a motion to approve the international trip to Japan?
I make a motion to approve the international trip to Japan.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay, next is Superintendent Bodwell's reads and NRC annual appointments. Do you want to just give us a little background on this?
Sure.
I have the motion in front of me.
So, area superintendents that are part of Reed's Collaborative, North River Collaborative, are annually appointed to the Board of Directors. So we meet, there's a required number of meetings per year. We approve budget. It's monthly, and then if we don't meet the quota, we have to meet a couple more times. But it's a very rewarding experience. We go to Rockland or down in Middleborough for the meetings, and it's just it's a great, both collaboratives do an outstanding job. So very happy to be part of them, and they're both very successful and well-respected collaboratives.
Seems a little boring after Japan, but.
I know, sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to move to appoint Mr. Mark Bodwell pursuant to Chapter 40, Section 4E, as amended by Chapter 43 of the Acts of 2012, to serve as the West Bridgewater representative on the Board of Directors of Reed's Collaborative. I already said in accordance with, for the 2026-2027 school year. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. All right, next up, we have the CPAC update. The West Bridgewater Special Education Parent Advisory Council, also known as the CPAC, is dedicated to building inclusive schools and a supportive community for all students. We serve families of students with IEPs and 504s, and we welcome general education families as well. Through advocacy, guidance, and educational programs and community events, our goal is to ensure that every student has what they need to succeed. April is Autism Acceptance Month. Autism is a form of neurodivergence, meaning autistic individuals experience and interact with the world in ways that may differ from those who are allistic or non-autistic. Different, not less. This week, our schools are celebrating with a Spirit Week that highlights and embraces these differences. We hope students enjoy participating while also gaining a deeper understanding of neurodiversity and the autistic community. Spring is also a time when we celebrate the educators who make such a meaningful impact on our children's lives. In early June, the WBCPAC will present our 7th annual Grant of Gratitude to a West Bridgewater teacher, therapist, staff member, or administrator who demonstrates a strong commitment to inclusion. We invite your nominations for someone who goes above and beyond to create an inclusive environment in their classroom, school, or across the district. For more information, please visit our Facebook page or submit a nomination at bit.ly/4A2XVSY by Friday, May 8th. We will also be sending that out on our mailing list as well.
It's also on the website.
Oh, it's on the website. Thank you. Our next meeting will be held Tuesday, April 14th at 6 o'clock here at the Middle Senior High School Learning Commons. We encourage parents and caregivers to join us. To learn more about the WBCPAC, stay updated on events, or join our mailing list, please visit us on Facebook or email us anytime at wbsepac@gmail.com. Okay, PTO update. Mrs. Weech.
I just have a quick thing, nothing as good as that. The West Bridgewater PTO has just wrapped up its largest fundraising event of the year, which was the Boosterthon Dance-a-thon. We brought in $41,000 that we used to fund educational programs, reading incentives, books in our elementary school book vending machines, and support teachers throughout the year for all grades, preschool through 6th grade. On May 6th, we are hosting the Harlem Wizards event here at the high school, which is a town-wide event featuring school staff from all 4 schools in an exciting basketball game against the Harlem Wizards, which is a B team of the Harlem Globetrotters. You can visit the West Bridgewater PTO Facebook page to get tickets and follow along. Our next meeting is tomorrow, April 7th at 7 at the Roselle Cafeteria.
So you're saying we have a chance? Against we.
Bring your cheer.
Thank you, Mrs. Weech.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Dragonetti,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we just go back and confirm, did the Reed's Collaborative was voted on, but was North River Collaborative?
Yes.
Voted
Oh,
on?
do we have a second sheet for North River?
We don't. North River
Oh,
doesn't have their
so
own
we
sheet.
don't.
I
Okay.
make their own, but I think North River needs to be.
Perfect. Well, we will go back and thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Ellis.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to move to appoint Mr. Mark Bodwell to serve as the West Bridgewater representative on the Board of Directors of the NRC Collaborative in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 4E, as amended by Chapter 43 of the Acts of 2012 for the 2026-2027 school year. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Rodwell.
Back on.
All right, so moving on to our subcommittees. So the policy subcommittee. Let's see here. So I'm going to move to approve the following policies as written. DA, fiscal management goals. DB, annual budget. DBC, budget deadlines and schedules. DBD, budget planning. DBG, budget adoption procedures. DBJ, budget transfer authority. DD, grants, proposals, and special projects. DEC, federal funds supplement, not supplant policy. DGA, authorized signatures. DH, bonded employees and officers. DI, fiscal accounting and reporting. DIE, audits. DJ, purchasing. DJA, purchasing authority. DJE, procurement requirements. DK, payment procedures. And DKC, expense reimbursements. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, so discussion here. So there were no changes to DB and DBC, so that's annual budget and budget deadlines and schedules. There were some minor changes, but no change to the content on DA, fiscal management goals, DBD, budget planning, DH, bonded employees and officers, and DKC, expense reimbursements. There were some minor changes to DGA, authorized signatures, and DK, payment procedures that would change our practice. These policies state that there will be one signatory for warrants designated through a roll call vote. So our current practice was in line with the previous version of this policy through MASC, which would be designating a budget subcommittee as designated signers. So when we meet in May and we vote to reorganize the committee, we will designate a person at that time. There were either no changes or minor changes with the following policies. We communicated with Mr. Bodwell, however, on all of these. We have a little update on everything. So DBG, budget adoption procedures, and DBJ, budget transfer authority. So the change here is just adjustments to our quarterly reporting to the committee, including cost center transfer approvals and votes to accept and approve revenue, which we've discussed in the past. And we will anticipate as we are coming into the fourth quarter of the year, we'll likely be seeing some of those transfers. DEC, federal fund supplement, not supplant policy. DI, fiscal accounting and reporting, and DIE, audits. We did a compliance check here. These policies relate to audits, accountability, and reporting, and the district is in compliance, doing everything that we are supposed to be doing. The next one is DD, grants, proposals, and special projects. So the district is using DESI GEMS, which stands for, or GEMS, I don't know what the acronym is there, but it's Grants for Education Management System. And these are written grant procedures that DESI has, but they're not specific to WB. So some follow-up is needed here, as the policy does state that we will have our own written procedures. I am not requesting to reinvent the wheel here,
Right.
but take what DESI gives us and use it as a model, I think is probably the best bet here. The other thing that we discussed was recommending changing. So right now, Mrs. Myskowski is our donations representative. But when we vote to reorganize, looking at that representative as a donations and grants representative, so that we can, you're currently already doing this, right?
Yeah,
You have
it's
grants
already
on the
mentioned,
list,
yeah.
yeah. So just reviewing both donations and grants quarterly, and I think it's best practice to do that concurrent with the quarterly financial reports with Mrs. Grant, and that would just make the most sense there. And then the last set, DJ purchasing, DJA purchasing authority, and DJE procurement requirements. These policies all relate to purchasing and procurement. Mr. Bodwell confirmed that we are in compliance. Victoria Levendale, who works in the business office, is our Massachusetts Certified Public Purchasing Official, which is MCPPO. She's the district's official purchasing agent, and all of the guidelines are being followed under her direction. So we are good there. So that is the entire D index that we completed. Are there any other discussions, any questions? No. They were hefty, but they were relatively easy, I would say. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. We are not opening any policies this month. We'll wait until after the reorganization of the committee, but I did just want to give an update on where we are with policies. So the WB index has 244 policies. There are 274 policies available. Most of those are in the MASC index, but there are a few that are specific to West Bridgewater. 16 of that 274 are not applicable. So they apply only to regional schools, or there are a couple of other exceptions in there as well, but they don't apply to West Bridgewater. Larger districts that have multiple areas and children would need homeschools. We do not have that. 5 policies are specific to West Bridgewater, and in the last year, Mrs. Myaskovsky and I reviewed 95 policies, so we are 40.51% complete. So we're right on track. Next slide. So we do have a goal. So this, just a summary of our 3-year goal is to review the entire index, audit the district procedures, and present relevant policies to the full committee for approval. And this benchmark for this year, which was May 25 to April 26, was just to review sections A, sections B, section C, and section D, documenting alignment with current administrative procedures, looking at areas of noncompliance or outdated language, and recommending edits or policy actions, and providing a written summary to the full committee quarterly. So the first year benchmark has been achieved with review and audit of sections A through D, plus our annual policies, which we do in the fall. And then some policies that were substantially reviewed by MASC over the summer. We do have some room for growth, I think, in our adherence to the timeline. We got it all done in a year, but we kind of crunched. We had some crunch time in the spring, and just better efficiency in reporting back to the full committee rather than huge policy updates every month. Maybe we could do it quarterly. So, anything you want to add, Mrs. Myaskovsky? No? All right. Next, we have the Donations and Dedications Subcommittee.
Yes. In the folder was a sheet of donations received from November 2025 to March 2nd, 2026. And we have some donations of money, donation of items, and some grants. I'm just going to go through them. We have some appreciation items and money towards staff, like pastry items and breakfast, and they were from Tri-Town Barbershop, Goat City Pub, Monique Alif, and Health Hustle Fitness. We had some donation of school support items like gym equipment from the Flynn family, WB Lions Club, WB Boosters, and the Bologna family. We had some money for programs and activities like the social studies trip and Model Lyon from the Howard trustees. We had some ongoing money from the United Way for payroll deductions. And we have a donation from the Lincoln Public Schools of some 4 iMac computers for the video production program. And we have some grants as well, the Student Wellness and Program Grant, the School Operation and Compliance Grant, the Timeout Practice, Safety and Prevention, there was a State Hate Crimes Prevention Grant, and the Mass Agricultural Grant. All those amounts were listed in the spreadsheet I shared, so if there's any questions, let me know. So I would like to make a motion to accept the grants and donations of money and donation of items that were listed in the folder.
Okay, so motion to accept. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Thank you for doing this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, that brings us to the end of our subcommittee reports. It brings us to questions and recommendations by the committee. I do have one thing. So just thinking about, I know I presented on the policy subcommittee goal. We did our evaluation a couple of months ago, so we just kind of need to be thinking, the current subcommittees we sit on should be thinking about our areas for improvement and writing goals and giving suggestions to the next subcommittee for how we can improve. And then one final thing, I think we all would like to thank Mrs. Myaskovsky for her time on the committee. You have been quiet voice of strength. You're always listening and doing the research, and I just have really appreciated working with you over the last 3 years, so thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I always say it's a tough job because you're always getting asked questions, but you've done an outstanding job, and thank you for giving your time to the students and staff in our community. We really appreciate your help.
Serving on the school committee, it's been a very incredible, meaningful experience, and I'm grateful to be part of this community. I want to say thank you to everyone who works in our school districts every day, for keeping everything running smoothly. And you guys do an amazing job. And to my fellow committee members, thank you for your time, dedication, and I will be cheering everyone on. So, thank you.
And there's always plenty of seats in the audience for you. We meet once a month on Mondays. All right, so that brings us to the end. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I have a motion to.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I never told everybody when the next meeting is. It's May 4th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at the Middle Senior High School Learning Commons. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved. Good night, everyone.